So the other day, Kobbie Mainoo came on as a left-sided 10 against Fulham and did this. He received the ball from the middle of the pitch out wide, picking it up in this wide left zone. From here, the combination play was really good. Initially, he carried the ball forward, before then getting runners around him, sliding the pass in behind for Ahmad to run onto. Kobbie Mainoo wasn't finished there though, he then makes the next run as well, making the movement off the back of the defender to receive the ball back from Ahmad. Kobbie continues his way into the box, throws in a dummy in this position here to completely sell the defender a dream, before then laying the ball off to Ahmad, who scored the goal, which was eventually, of course, disallowed. But it's got everyone asking one question. Is it time for a position change for Kobbie Mainoo under Amorim? Well, that is, of course, exactly what we will be discussing today. Before we get into it, if you could please subscribe to the channel, it would be great. Big goals this year, so, just press subscribe, and then we'll get into the video. So I guess the first question is, why do people even think this is a possibility? Yes, he may have played there the other day, but his whole career so far, he's been a central midfielder. What is there to suggest that he could actually play as a left-sided 10 or an inside forward? Well, I think there's two main traits that he possesses that have people asking the questions. First of all, it is his back-to-goal retention in tight spaces, and then that is the other thing, his short space combinations. His work in tight spaces is usually really effective, and this is something that we've been seeing ever since he broke into the first team. Not, of course, playing up here, but actually playing in midfield. We have seen that Mainoo is a player who is really comfortable under pressure. He is someone that I would go as far as labelling as actually press resistant. So when people are looking to close him down, he's got this amazing ability to draw the opposition in, and then he uses a really stiff arm across the opposition, and then brilliant footwork. He opens his hips up, he drops the shoulder, and moves his way past the opposition and further forward. This is one of the reasons why people think he could play a little bit higher, because he can receive with his back to goal. So in these positions up here, he could receive the ball from a deeper position into this position here, and have what it takes to hold the opposition off. Something that United perhaps currently lack in this position. Now, of course, we don't actually have perfect examples of this just yet, because Mainoo hasn't actually played as a 10 on a regular basis, but we have seen him working in tight spaces. This is something that he's done throughout his career so far, in positions like this, picking the ball up in between 2, 3, sometimes even 4 players. And in these moments, his work is genuinely tremendous. Again, using that upper body that we were speaking about, using his arms really effectively to hold off the opposition. And then it's all about his quick footwork, taking a touch with the left foot here to draw the opposition in, before then quickly changing direction and actually quite effortlessly moving the ball forward. He is so good at doing this. A little bit higher up the pitch as well, though. Here you can see there's actually 3 or 4 players around him. But again, he's actually just too good for most people in these moments. And what he does, again, particularly well, is he uses his upper body. He keeps the opponent away from him, and it allows him to progress the ball. And I think this is one of the main reasons why everyone thinks he could play as an inside forward. Because imagine the ball progression that he could bring from this position here. In terms of his successful take-ons, he is one of the best midfielders anywhere in the world. He is actually very effective with his dribbling. Now, the other thing that we would achieve by moving Kobbie Mainoo into this position is we would get a lot of people around him. We would have a striker, of course, just ahead of him, a left wing-back flying on the overlap, and perhaps someone like Bruno Fernandes also making forward runs in support of him. This means that any time Kobbie Mainoo got the ball, he would have a lot of players really close. And this is another one of the reasons why I think people believe this can work, because Kobbie Mainoo is a short space specialist. Not only does this include his dribbling, his ball carrying, his ball protection work, but also his passing work as well. If you look at Mainoo's numbers, he much prefers the shorter passing game. You will almost never see him playing medium or even long-range passes. It's not really what he wants to do. He wants to keep it short, he wants to combine with players in and around him. Again, that is what you get with an inside forward. So this is why people like the idea of this. He can receive with his back to goal, which gives us a brilliant out ball initially, and then once he's in the final third and looking to move forward, he's got the take-on ability, he can go past people, but also he's a good short passer. His combination work is good. The other thing that he offers from this position also is a genuine goal threat. And this is something that we saw more so last season when he was in a slightly different role on the left side of midfield, able to get forward into this space here. If I was to mark out an inside forward zone, it would be this space here. And of course, we saw last season just how effective Kobbie Mainoo was. The changes of direction, the illusion with which he played was just incredible. He would go past these defenders, making it look so easy, shoulder drops into these positions before bending the ball into the far corner. It was absolutely brilliant to watch. He also had this understanding of when to attack the box as well. You can see here, moving into the final third as part of a front 5 for Manchester United, which is what would be asked of him, you know, in an inside forward position. And again, from these positions, he could sense the space, get into good areas, and score genuinely good goals for Manchester United. This was a very common theme for him last season. Again, in an inside forward zone, receiving the ball from out wide, you could imagine a wing-back perhaps playing this pass into Kobbie Mainoo. His ability to protect the ball initially is top, and then the finish on this occasion is just an absolute joke. So this is why everyone wants Kobbie Mainoo as an inside forward, and I can absolutely see it working. But I do have a couple of concerns. Now, concern number one for me with Kobbie Mainoo in this position is that he doesn't really offer two-way threat. And what I mean by that is that when he plays as an inside forward and he gets the ball on his right foot, he wants to come inside and he will always look to go inside. You will see one or two occasions where he drifts wider, but 9 times out of 10 he is going to come infield with the ball, looking to carry into these zones. Because he is right-footed, because he wants to combine with people and get close to people, he will always move inside the pitch. That isn't necessarily what Manchester United always want from the inside forward. You see, when you play the 3-4-3 formation, what we see is that United lack immediate width. That's because we don't have traditional wingers out there, and it takes a bit of time for the wing-backs to get forward. So there are moments where there's a lot of space out here, and our inside forwards are required to pick the ball up and actually actively spin towards that space. We've seen Garnacho doing it very effectively in recent weeks. Kobbie Mainoo isn't a player that could really do that, in my opinion. He's not a two-way threat. If he was to pick the ball up in this position here, I think for the opposition, it would be quite predictable in terms of what he wants to do. He's not going to knock the ball down the line and go down the outside. He's quite clearly going to come into the pitch. And that could potentially make Manchester United quite predictable, which for me is the last thing that we need right now. We know that already United are fairly predictable. We often end up in this kind of horseshoe shape where we just pass the ball around a lot. We struggle to move forward, particularly because we've got full-backs at wing-back. Adding a central midfielder into the front three, for me, makes United even more predictable on the ball, which would be a concern. Another concern for me would be Kobbie Mainoo's ability to transition when United first win the ball back. Now, we know that this is something that we are looking to do less and less anyway under Ruben Amorim. We are looking to keep the ball a little bit slower at times to let the team gradually build possession, but there are still moments where we win the ball back quickly and want to strike, want to attack, want to get forward as quick as possible. Now, like I've said already, we lack immediate width because the wing-backs are often quite deep and it takes time for them to arrive into space. Does this front three really have the driving power to be the transitioning threat that Old Trafford wants so badly? Manchester United fans want a team which can move the ball forward quickly. So yes, we're trying a new idea of slowing down, but in moments we have to offer pace in transition. That is what Old Trafford demands. Does Kobbie Mainoo in the inside forward position really bring that? Probably not. And if we're looking at actually pure goal output in the final third, yes, he was dangerous last season. Yes, he did chip in with some really good goals. But is he a reliable, efficient, guaranteed output in the final third? Not by any means. And if you look at that front three, you do start to question where the goals are really coming from outside of Ahmad. I think it makes Manchester United a bit slower on the ball, which isn't something that I think we actually need right now. I think moving Kobbie into this further forward, more advanced position actually makes us more predictable. Would I like to see it tried again? Absolutely, because it is quite interesting. He does do good work in advanced areas. He is an advanced playmaker. He loves to carry the ball forward and get involved in those attacks. That's when he really comes to life. So I would love to see him play this position again at some point. But if we're talking long term, do I actually think this can work? Particularly with the lack of left-footed wing-back outside of him, with Ahmad playing in the front three at the moment, with the lack of a recognised goal scorer in the team, I don't think it quite works for me. Kobbie Mainoo is a midfielder, and I think that's where we should keep him. I think it's too early in his career to be moving him into a different position. Let's let him become a specialist in a deeper area. In this deeper position, we know what we get from him. We get incredible ball progression, someone that can actually carry the ball forward, something which United have been lacking for years at the heart of midfield. The other thing you get from Kobbie is genuine press resistance. Again, that is something that no other United midfielder has possessed in the last 5 or 6 years. Taking the only player that can do it and moving him into a different position seems a little bit backwards to me. I see why everyone wants Kobbie Mainoo further forward. He does have the skill set and he does tick some of the boxes that you would want, but there are other areas where he probably wouldn't offer enough. He's not enough of a transitioning powerful threat. He's not a reliable goal output in the final third, and I just think we lose so much in a deeper position. Do I think he's perfect next to Ugarte? No, I think in the big games, they are ideal next to each other. Against City, against Arsenal, against Liverpool, they have already proven that. In the games where we dominate the ball more, It is a case of you need to play one of them or the other, not both of them. Currently, we are struggling to do that, but that's always going to be the case because we've got a poor squad at the moment. The solution for me isn't to move either of them away from their best position, it's actually just to recruit another midfielder. So that would be sort of my summary on it. Can Kobbie Mainoo play further forward as a 10? I think he can. I would like to see it tried again at some point because it's quite a fun experiment and he could do a good job there. But in the long term, I very much see him as a central midfielder. He ticks all the boxes to be one of the most complete progressive midfielders on the planet. He will become that someday. I do really feel that. He is a specialist in the middle of the park, and I wouldn't really take him away from there. But those are just my thoughts, just my opinion. I want to address the topic because a lot of people have been asking it ever since Ruben Amorim came into the club. It could work, but it wouldn't be the move that I would make. Let me know, though, what you think in the comments down below. Where should Kobbie Mainoo play? Deep as a midfielder or a little bit further forward? I mean, realistically, he plays in a 4-3-3 where he can do a little bit of both. But right now, we're not going to get that. So what would you do with Kobbie Mainoo in Ruben Amorim's system? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. But apart from that, we are finished for today. So thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you have enjoyed it. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.